Welcome back to Beyond Stats. Just finished Jazz winning back-to-back games against Pelicans.
Surprising. I would not have bet any money on that.
Without Markkanen, without Clarkson Markkanen first night, and then without Markkanen tonight. Did not expect to see that.
We have all of a sudden discovered a little bit more of a defensive presence as a team with Kessler coming back, with playing Yurt-Seven some more.
Yes.
So we've definitely gotten stronger on the defensive side, which we needed. We have been horrible defensively.
100%. 100%. We still started Yurt-Seven. Ended up finally playing Kessler more minutes than him. And so I don't know. We were talking to the game. I'd rather, it's like, hey, we're gonna get you back into game shape, but so you're not gonna be playing as many minutes, but still starting.
I have a lot of questions on rotations and decisions on why that's happening.
I don't really know.
I'm to the point of questioning Hardy vocally on many of these things.
Yeah, I have been kind of there with you and, trusting the process and stuff like that. And I got to tell you, man, it's been extremely frustrating watching Agbaji lose more and more minutes to everyone on this team when he's playing well.
Even on the off nights that he has 0 points, you were talking about this during the game, that the contribution that he makes and how much stronger he makes everybody else on defense because of how quickly he can hedge and then recover,
right,
is incredible. And so his absolute absolute floor, bless you, his absolute floor is very helpful and productive as a teammate.
Right, and that's the thing is he was just starting to shoot well, gets benched, Markkanen doesn't play, and still doesn't start, but doesn't just not start, plays the lowest minutes of our bench players tonight and was our second leading scorer off the bench behind Walker Kessler, who played 26 minutes. So it's it's abnormal for him,
another 10
that
minutes.
Bench player, to have scored, that many points, right? And so it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense.
I really wonder what's going on. That, along with Chris Dunn, started
2 nights ago.
Started the game before. This game doesn't play. Was up at the players' table to come in one time.
And then Agbaji hit like 2 shots in a row. And then Hardy told him to go sit back down. So he was obviously coming in for Agbaji.
Yep. Interesting. I do not get the mindset of what's going on. Goodness, if you have a performance like the last couple of games from Colin Sexton, who is playing well, shooting well, being more efficient and making an impact on the game, you can understand increasing his minutes. But some of the stuff that doesn't seem to be tied to performance or stats,
and that's where I mentioned it while we were watching the game, is for a guy like Agbaji. Our coach comes out and says, these are the 2 things I care about. You play hard, you pass the ball, I don't care about anything else, wants accountability and stuff like that, but then doesn't hold anyone accountable except for the guys who play hard and pass the ball, right? It seems to be like Fontecchio and Agbaji, if they do something like just simply wrong, get them out of the game, they lose all their minutes, everything like that. But Clarkson can miss, at one point in the game, 7 shots in a row, and it's not a big deal. We don't care. To the point of, we're going down the stretch. We're trying to develop players, right? That's what the season's about. Keyonte is having his best scoring performance of the season, and down the stretch, instead, Jordan Clarkson, the last 4 possessions, takes 3 of the 4 shots. And to the point of kind of just waving off of Keyonte, when Keontae's calling for the ball, waves him off to go stand in the corner so he can take a horrible shot. Double-teamed, step back. You could tell he had made it up in his mind. He was going to shoot the ball because Collins rolled, and you mentioned it. Collins rolled, and Collins is wide open. But no, he has made his mind up. He's going to shoot the ball, and we're going to win or lose with that, and we just happen to get a defensive stop on the next possession. He took our last 2 true offensive possessions, he took two horrendous shots when Keyonte was playing well and should have had the ball in his hands.
We had a 114 to 107 lead and had just made a defensive stop. And from there, we made horrible decisions on the shots that we took. Like the one that you're talking about. Collins came over and screened and slipped the screen, pivoted into, to roll towards the basket. The defense was soft.
Yeah.
Soft. A huge gap. I would say a 3 to 4 foot gap between defenders. Just a simple bounce pass right there. And John Collins is going at the rim with a center pinned basically back deep in the key.
And these are the moments that make it hard to care that he had 10 assists tonight. He made several awesome plays tonight where he drove and kicked it, for sure. But then he has several plays in a row where he does this, and it just kind of nullifies anything else he's done, right? And it's hard to give a crap about a guy who's not playing defense, who's just watching while everyone else plays defense, not rotating, not communicating, and then on offense doing that. And so even on nights when he comes out and has 10 assists, it makes it really hard to care.
You look for a net value, right? And his net value was not there, especially tonight with the amount of shots he took and missed. He did have some assists, and that was good. And our team passed it around quite well as a team.
Yeah.
And made the shots. So it's a game where if I were coach, I would have during the game seen kind of what he was contributing and not had him on the court for the last 8 minutes of the game.
Right.
I mean, he would have played a little bit, end of third, start of fourth, kind of with that group, and then been on the bench. So I do like the emergence of some of the players. Yurtseven is really showing strong. Fontecchio, that guy is, to me, the backup three for our team. It should get consistent minutes.
Right.
Consistent minutes. Trying extra hard on defense.
And that's treating Agbaji as a backup two starting two.
Right. That's because Agbaji is at worst the backup two.
Yeah.
And should actually be the starting two beside Keyonte George. So rotation-wise, I have a lot of questions, whereas if you would have asked me if I could feel this way at the start of the season, I would have really questioned it,
Right.
The lineups have really baffled me. The decisions don't seem to be based on results or the declared criteria that we're using to choose.
That's the thing.
doesn't match.
That's the thing is the accountability only seems to be accountability for certain players.
Right.
Kessler's another one, right? If Kessler makes a couple mistakes, he's pulled. He plays 20 minutes that game, right? Even when he's starting and healthy, he makes a couple bad plays in a row. He's only going to play 20 minutes tonight, and it's only a few players, right, that really have that kind of short lease of you can't make any sort of mistake.
It's interesting, and Kessler has looked super quick.
Super pumped
these
for the way
last
that guy's
2
come
nights.
back and played deep. Oh my gosh. All of a sudden, we've got a legit rim protector. Yurtseven has done a good job once we finally played him, but he has done a good job as the backup 5 role, right? Kessler, man, we haven't seen that guy since the guy we're seeing the last couple games since last year.
Right, he's moving like he did last year, right? And we mentioned a lot of those first games that he was playing where he was hurt, which we didn't know.
Yes.
We asked, what's going on? What's up? Well, we kind of know what was up now. It may be a little bit of a mismatch.
Sabonis.
Yeah, Sabonis, ripped his flipping arm off. But it may be a little bit of a weird matchup situation for Valanciunas, because he's kind of a little bit of a slower, not really a rising center. So it'll be interesting to see Kessler and how he evolves the next couple of games. And then what do we look like as Markkanen comes back? Do we go back to some of these lineups where we are ultra weak on defense again, or do we really use these last couple of games to use this defensive spine of the team to then move forward and really actually compete?
And that's the thing. And that's the thing why we talk about, why it's important to have a guy like Agbaji starting next to Keyonte is Keontae's playing good. Keontae's playing better defense than I would have expected.
Amen.
Which he can be, is showing he can be a very solid number 2 defensive guy between your guards, right? To where he's your weaker defender out of the 2, and that's a solid weaker defender out of the 2. He's not an elite defensive player. That's just not going to happen, but he's going to make plays on the defensive side of the court every once in a while. You put a strong defender next to him, a really strong defender who can take the number 1 guy and kind of really make it hard for them. It makes it easier for Keyonte, but also just makes our team better.
And a shot blocker behind him, with crazy numbers, it makes it so that you can cover up, some of the deficiencies even into real basketball, late in fourth quarter, close games, playoff games, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we make the right choices with some of the lineups. And the right choices means what I want, what I want to do as we're going on pivoting from here.
I know best.
If I were coach. Couple of amazing plays during this game, I thought. Keontae's dunk was
oh my gosh,
surprising. That's not easy to do over Dyson Daniels. He's a long, athletic defender, and
that was legit.
And that was fun. 2 games in a row now, Keontae's made huge 3-point shots late in the fourth quarter. Game-affecting shots. The kid has ice in his veins.
Yes,
that is special.
Had a big dunk tonight.
He did. Got fouled, put it down.
Going back to Keyonte, something that is so rare with a young player is he will get hot. He'll hit a couple shots, but he will still make the right basketball play. There's a play tonight, late fourth quarter. It was one of our last possessions. It was like the only possession Clarkson didn't shoot. We moved the ball, kind of kick. Keyonte catches it. He's got a little bit of space, and if he shoots it,
we'd be fine with it. Yeah,
you're fine with him taking that shot. He just hit a big 3. But the guy closes out from the corner, and he kind of hesitates slowly and then kicks it to Fontecchio and gets the better shot. And that's the thing that's shocking about him is even when he's feeling it, almost always he will look for the best shot.
Every player that's ever played, if you've hit a couple of shots, in your mind, you're thinking, heat check, give me the ball.
Exactly.
I'm on fire. And even in those situations, he's still willing to pass up the shot to choose the highest level decision possible in that moment.
Yeah.
That is how the most elite players in the world are judged in any sport. That is big time. That's special right there.
That is,
he doesn't have to have his me power doesn't override the moment. That's incredible.
That's truly what makes Steph Curry. Is the unselfish part of his game. That right there is what separates him. Like, yes, a lot of the other things, but that right there is what makes people like Durant and Thompson and stuff want to come play with him, want to be on his team.
That's true.
Because they know that they will still get looks playing beside the greatest shooter to ever play, that they will still get looks. Keyonte, as a rookie, is already starting to show that willingness to truly be the point guard, to be the ball handler, leader of the team, that I will make the best basketball decision for you guys.
And we're seeing Devin Booker do it finally this year, right?
Right.
With Durant around, and he's evolved to the point over how many years? Because for a long time, he was a me scorer.
Right,
100%. And Keontae's shown that in his first year. That's mind-blowing. There's no way I would have seen this. There's no way.
No way.
I kind of pride myself on the scouting side, but I was
love to do some, and part of the reason why I would love to see the matchups is because I'd love to see the ball in Keontae's hand more. I'd love to see him really start to take on these responsibilities and continue to grow. That's going to come with some bad games. That's fine. But it's also going to come with games like tonight. It's also going to come with games like tonight where he has 20 points, but he'll also have 10 assists, right? Because the ball's constantly in his hands. I want that usage number to go up and let him really just start to work.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming months, what happens with the team. Interesting stat. I can't remember if I told you this or not. Over the last 2 years, over the last 2 years, the amount of trades in the NBA that have happened in the month of December.
You did not tell me.
0. And before that, it was very low as well.
That was really exciting. That was
really
exciting.
Making a point that we're not going to see any trades coming up real soon, right? It's going to happen January time, getting up there into February. What's going on?
And my dad, shot us a message today that maybe it was today, maybe it was the other day, but that if we were to trade Clarkson, he's not eligible to be traded till January, which we've been unsure about.
Right.
But apparently there's been some talk around the league that it's a lot of teams and people feel like Clarkson will be moved when he's available. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and once we get to that point, like I said, in my mind, I'm still holding out hope that the shape of the team will change a little bit there, and we can actually play a competitive team defensively and offensively that builds towards the future, kind of checks all the boxes.
And that's
going on from that point.
You know, we've talked previously that we'd love a guy like Levine or Tyler Hero and stuff like that where they were available. And, you know, my dad made a really good point back to him is that honestly, at this point, with the way that Keyonte's playing, would we want that trade now? Or would we rather just put that time into Keyonte George? Would that make Keyonte have to take that back seat behind them and hurt his development? And if that's the case, which it would, and if that's the case at this point with how he's all of a sudden doing this, I don't want to make that trade. I don't want to put a guy who's going to put him back to the bench and stuff like that because I want to see Keyonte's development.
Yeah, and you know, there's no question that would players like those two guards you mentioned, Levine and Hero, would they make us better? You know, short term, yeah, they would. But long term, you know, I've kind of adjusted my position as we've seen kind of Keyonte's portfolio unfold in front of us.
And that's the thing. I'm fully willing to admit, 100%. I was 100% all in on trading for like Levine or Tyler Hero, you know, or Drew Holiday earlier and stuff like that. And now I've completely flipped to where it's like, no, I don't want to see that trade because of Keyonte.
I don't want somebody else to come in and think that they are the number one option and take away usage and that kind of thing. I would rather, and we've talked about this, pair up a defensive guard that can really shoot, which wonder where we'd find one of those, to be right beside him and allow Markkanen to still kind of play the role as the number one, you know, with our team, our number one option. So,
and then commit to a true six-man scorer off the bench. I'm okay with that, right? And whether it's someone that's on our team or not, just make that commitment of, you know, starting a good defensive player like Baji next to Keyonte George. That's your starting lineup. Let Keyonte George get better, and Larry Markkanen is still the number one option. And then you still have an ability to have a true scorer coming off your bench.
Yep. And understand that we are still waiting for the first game with Markkanen, John Collins, Walker Kessler starting with Keyonte George at the point guard.
Yep.
And so that's what we want to see.
The change happened with Keyonte into the starting lineup when Kessler went out.
And so that's what we want to see, and how that's going to grow and evolve. And if we can make the changes during the season to get pretty strong, and then if we need to wait till the offseason to make some moves, whether we pick up our draft pick this year or not, it's top 10 protected.
Yeah.
You know, right now it looks like we're in pretty strong. Well, I mean, we won two, but I'm not sure exactly where the standings put us right now. But and with a lottery drawing, so see where that puts us, and see if we pick up another talent in the draft, and where Hendricks and Sensabaugh are at that point.
Yeah, which they've been playing really well in the G League and getting the development. And you know, there's a lot of people wanting to, you know, why do we draft Hendricks number 9? Where's Hendricks and stuff like that? And it's an understanding that each player has a different development path. And yes, I would love to see Taylor Hendricks right now, but it's not the worst thing in the world to have him getting this playing time in the G League and playing well, getting his confidence in a professional setting.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I guarantee it's going to happen this way, where at some point in the season, all of a sudden, third quarter, with kind of the backup group, all of a sudden checks in
Taylor,
one of the two rookies, and we're like, oh,
yep,
you know, not really knowing it was going to happen, that kind of thing, and see how they run for 3 or 4 minutes. Probably is how it's going to happen.
Which is pretty common with young players.
Yeah, and then they get kind of a few of those, and they kind of gently dip the toe in the water along with how they're doing in practice, and see how it goes. But kind of the next steps I'm looking for is, how can our three bigs, once Markkanen comes back, how can they operate with Keyonte out there? And
I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see that, especially with Kessler looking like last year's Kessler.
Man, he's moving quick, dude. I forgot how nimble that guy was.
Yes, and his hands are coming back. Like, It's all coming back. So super excited to get those 4 on the court starting together.
Yeah, and then we'll see who the 5th player is.
We'll see. We'll see beyond that.
What are your feelings on that, sir?
Yeah. I don't know if they've been clear or not.
Yeah, I'm excited for the games now again. There for a bit, you lose hope and you don't really have any direction. I'm worried about the rotations, but I'm, excited to see the games and see the progress.
No, for sure. I'm more excited right now than I was earlier. I'm still frustrated about a lot of things, but definitely Keyonte has brought a lot of excitement back. Fontecchio playing well, and then Kessler coming back. There's been some players that really have brought that excitement back into, what we were hoping this season was going to be.
Absolutely. It's been a bumpy ride so far. So we will see. Love to have the comments out of you guys. Whenever you can kind of call us out where you think we're wrong or parts you agree. That's just kind of what we use each show. Helps us out.
Yeah, it's super fun to be able to kind of mention those things, and we talk those things throughout, the next day and stuff like that. Like all this comment and be able to kind of discuss on where we really do stand with certain things. So leave those comments.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thanks, guys.